This letter was written on April 4th, 1943, and it is from Dorothea Calhoun to her husband, John Nelson Calhoun, who was on active duty at the time. This letter was sent from Burlington, Iowa. During the letter, Dorothea wrote about how her family was doing, what was going on in her career as a beauty operator, and what was happening in everyday life. Dorothea is hardworking, optimistic, and very family-oriented. Dorothea was very hardworking. In the letter, she talked about her job as a beauty operator and being busy giving customers permanent waves. In the letter, she also talks about fixing up the basement in their house and working on the upstairs next. Dorothea wrote about getting the upstairs done before John returns so they won't have anything else to do but play. Dorothea keeps a positive attitude throughout the letter. Even though her coworker's father had passed away, she was busy at work, was raising kids, and the family cat had run away. In her letter, Dorothea writes, "Just 2 more weeks from today and you will be home. Won't it be grand?" Her optimism is present throughout the letter by keeping a positive outlook towards the future. In her letter, Dorothea shows she cares a lot about her family. She informs John that Grandma is okay but gets pretty tired. She tells John how Grandma made a burnt sugar cake and it was delicious and she wishes she could send him some. Dorothea shows her values by writing to John that she needs to get the family ready for Sunday school. Dorothea indicates in the letter that family is an important aspect in their relationship by signing off hugs and kisses, Dorothea and the kitties, and keeping John up to date on how Grandma is doing. Dorothea took on a lot of new responsibilities while John was away on active duty. She was raising 3 small children whose estimated ages in the time of the letter were 9, 6, and 5. She had a career as a beauty operator. She was fixing up the house and paying for the bills. In the letter, Dorothea thanks John for sending a check and also apologizes for not making it to the bank. This shows how Dorothea was responsible and put the needs of her families before her own. During the 1940s, women's participation in the workforce increased. In 1939, women's participation in the workforce was at 26%. By 1943, women's participation in the workforce was at 36%, which means in 4 years, women's participation in the workforce raised 10%, which means roughly 2 million more women joined the workforce. In the 1940 census, Dorothea lists her occupation as a beauty operator, otherwise known as a hairstylist. Dorothea may have gotten a job as a beauty operator while her husband was away at war, because in the 1930 census, after Dorothea had married John, Dorothea lists that she does not have an occupation. Was Dorothea one of the many women who started a career because her husband went away to fight in World War II? This is another way to show how Dorothea put the needs of her family before her own and how she was hardworking. Throughout the letter, Dorothea keeps her husband John up to date on everything that is going on in her life. Her purpose of letting John know all these details was to keep him in the loop and informed while he was away. Dorothea showed her hardworking values and how she kept a positive attitude throughout the letter.